then that's a good day, because this is what I have to do for now. It's not going to be forever. And I think that's probably what got me through is this isn't going to be forever. This is just for now. And we can slowly work on getting it to where I want it to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Entering Motherhood, a podcast dedicated specifically to new moms going through this amazing journey in life. I'm your host, Sara Belanger, a postpartum nutritional coach / mechanical engineer. And as always, I'm so excited to be here with you and share all of the information I've been lucky enough to obtain since becoming a mom.
In this episode, we talk with Sara Belanger, the host of the Awkward Mom podcast, about her life now with a newborn and toddler at home.
Before this episode begins, I just want to say thank you so much for listening.
And I also want to talk about a couple of events we have coming up, one starting April 1st.
This event is for mamas who are either currently trying to conceive, are pregnant, or are in the early postpartum stage and may have some trauma in their life that they're looking to release. We go through 30 ways in 30 days of how to heal your trauma. You'll get a workbook and you'll listen to the daily mini episodes of the podcast that correspond to this a unique experience. I hope that you know that you are not alone in this and that you deserve this time to heal.
The other event we have coming up is the first ever Entering Motherhood Festival, and it is happening on May 15th, 2022, right here in the Greenville area.
If you want more information on this, please go to the Entering Motherhood website or feel free to reach out to me with any questions. And with that, let's get this episode started.
Hello and welcome to Entering Motherhood. I am so excited to have you here with our babies right beside us. So how about you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Well, hello. I'm Sara Belanger, and I am the host of the Awkward Mom podcast. I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-month-old daughter. And yeah, I don't really know where to go from there. That's who I am.
Yeah, so we were just talking about, before I started recording, that I think it's so awesome that we both have toddlers. We're both on that stage. We also both have newborns. Isaac is 2 months and you have a 1-month-old. And we also are moms that podcast. So I think it's really unique. And we're both named Sarah. So it's really cool to find somebody that you have so many things in common with. And I really just wanted that to kind of be the driving force of this conversation and really just give an insight on what our life is like right now with so many things going on.
Yes. I don't know about your life, but my life has definitely switched around a lot with the addition of the baby.
Yeah. So tell us about your podcast and what really led you to start podcasting and what that journey's been like and everything like that.
My podcast, The Awkward Mom, is basically just like a collection of real life mom stories. Nothing like scientific, nothing trying to like change your mind or anything, but just moms coming on. Right now, it's mostly just been me, but moms coming on and just telling their story, telling any story that they want about motherhood, kind of as a way to help other moms know that they're not alone in this struggle. And if you've gone through something, it's very likely that there's another mom who's gone through something very similar. And knowing that you're not alone in these situations, I feel like it helps get you through that situation. Because I know when I had my son, my 3-year-old, I went through a lot of isolation because I felt like no one understood what I was going through. It was my first time being a mom, my first time ever dealing with babies really. And even though like all of my friends and my family all had babies, I just felt so isolated. And I didn't want anyone to have to feel like what I felt. So I was like, I think I should just share my stories so other moms know that they're not alone in this. And there's someone out there who can probably help them or at least make them feel less alone. Because being alone sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think, my journey was very similar. I was kind of 6 months postpartum, really just feeling like, what in the world is going on? And like, how can I get to the bottom of this? I've always been really, really curious and really just trying to, search for the answers. And there has to be a solution to this. And, my mind was just racing like that. This can't be how other moms are feeling. And if they are feeling like this, then something needs to be done about it. And so that's why I was so like adamant on wanting to share my story and reach out to other moms and find out their stories and really just see, what's going on here? Like what conversations can we have and where can we learn from what's going on and what we're thinking and how we're feeling? And so that's really what my journey has been like. And I mean, that's how I found you and came in contact with you. I think the moms that podcast and that community is really starting to develop and grow. And women in general are underrepresented in the podcast community as it is. And so for that population to pinpoint moms who podcast, I think that's like even smaller of a population, but it's needed. I think, thinking like how many times like right now can you dedicate to like holding something to watch a video or something, but like how easy it is to pop in a head like pair of headphones and just be able to listen to something and to like feel connected. And I think that's where I've always enjoyed podcasts. Like you can put it on in the car, you can put it on while you're folding laundry, you can put it on while you're nursing your baby. There's so many situations that you can just listen in on a podcast and get that connection to somebody, to a group of people, to just feel like you're having a conversation with somebody and you're not so isolated, but you don't have to engage in that conversation.
Yes, exactly. And it makes it like I know there's this whole thing coming out as video podcasts, but the audio ones makes it easy, I feel like, cuz if you have a toddler like my son who likes to grab your phone and just walk away because you have a video going, then they don't even know that you have something going on your phone because it's not a video. It's just audio and it's fantastic. It makes it so much easier to get through the day.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. My toddler too. She's like, "No, on mommy's phone." And I'm like, "Well, what about the TV or your tablet that we got you? Like, like you have so many other things." And she's like, "No, mommy's phone." And toddlers, like they're just so adamant on what they want and it's just, sometimes you got to give in, but
Yes.
especially with a newborn, like I'm over here
Yes.
nursing him sometimes and she's like, "Mommy, come out and play with me." And like you don't want to be like, "I can't because your brother," like you don't want to like put the blame on them or anything.
Yeah, it's hard. I find myself trying not to say I can't because of the baby, but then I'm like, well, I can't because
Of the
I
baby.
I love the baby. I'm like, what am I supposed to tell you? Like, so sometimes I try to rephrase it like, in 5 minutes when I'm done feeding, I'll come out. And I try to give him like a time frame, I guess. Not that he time frame works for him, but just knowing that it will happen, just not this very second.
Yeah.
That has been a little bit helpful.
Yeah. What other things have you noticed kind of, having a newborn and a toddler and what that transition's been like?
I It's kind of hard to say because I honestly thought it was going to be like a lot harder. I mean, I had really bad postpartum depression and anxiety the first time, and so far, knock on wood, I don't have it. So it's already easier just because my mental health is a lot healthier. So I was expecting to be like bawling my eyes out and struggling with a transition from one to two, but it's been pretty easy. And I think it's because I've gone through having a newborn before. So I kind of know what to expect. And I mean, my son wasn't the easiest baby. He had really bad reflux. So he screamed all day, every day, basically. So it was almost like he had colic, but like not that bad, I guess. But I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the things that I thought were going to be more difficult haven't been. Like, I thought, like juggling two kids and just like working around like bedtime and schedules and things like that. I thought that was going to be the difficult part. And I think just like handling the emotions of a toddler while also trying to care for a newborn has been harder than I would have imagined, because like you said, like we've gone through this before. Yeah, sure, we've had a newborn, but we've never had a newborn and a toddler. I mean, the first week of recovering and just like trying to stay in bed, it was hard for her to really just like understand, like, mommy's gonna sleep in, mommy's gonna stay with the baby, she's not coming downstairs and like, playing and going outside. And I think that was just like difficult for her to hear.
Yeah, I didn't really have that transition because the day home from the hospital, I'm alone with the kids. So, like, I have no help for 12 hours a day, and since she was 3 days old, I haven't had help. So, I couldn't be like, "Oh, mom's gonna stay in bed," because I didn't stay in bed. Uh, and I kinda just had to make things happen. So, like, we don't go outside as much as we used to, but it's also, like, winter. So, I don't like going outside in winter, and there's not much to do anyways, I feel like, around here at least.
I was gonna say, so one, like, what has that been like? 3 days postpartum, and you're with two kids, like all by yourself all day long. What has that been like?
It's been hard, I won't lie, because on top of the kids, like you said, we're still recovering ourselves. So, that was I feel like the recovery was the hardest part, honestly, because for whatever reason, the first 2 or 3 days home from the hospital, I couldn't figure out when I was supposed to take my pain medication. So I'd end up calling my fiance and just saying, "Do you remember when I took this? Because I don't remember. I'm busy dealing with the baby and I'm busy dealing with my son's tantrum. I don't remember when I'm supposed to take my Tylenol. I'm shaking over here because I don't even remember the last time I had a drink of water. I don't remember these things. I need some type of help." So he started setting timers on his phone, and he would either text me or call me and be like, "Hey, you need to take your Tylenol or you need to take your Motrin or whatever."
Or you need to drink some water.
Yes. I have gotten a lot better at drinking my water, which has, I feel like, been a really big change because I've never used to be very good about drinking water. But ever since I got pregnant with her, I've been like drinking like a fish. And I think it's been very helpful at keeping like my mood up. I find when I don't drink my water, I'm more grumpy.
Yeah. What other things have you found to kind of help with that, or what things have you been doing to kind of help yourself recover and look after yourself in the midst of all of this?
I have dropped my expectations of what a good day should look like. So I feel like any mom, you go into motherhood going, "Oh, I'm not going to be the mom who has my kid watch TV all day." There were days after she was born, I wanna say, like, the first at least 2 weeks, my son watched TV almost the entire day because I was like, "I gotta figure this out, and I'm still recovering, and I need to take naps," and not that I really took naps, but I ended up dropping my expectation of what a good mom day is supposed to look like and just say, "Well, this is what the day's going to look like. As long as my children are fed, taken care of, are cleaned up, then that's a good day because this is what I have to do for now. It's not going to be forever." And I think that's probably what got me through is this isn't going to be forever. This is just for now. And we can slowly work on getting it to where I want it to be. But right now, this is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very common thing that some of us really need to understand, and it is hard that whole saying, this is just a season, this will pass, and understanding we have to do these things for just these short amount of time. And then we will be able to get back to quote unquote a normal schedule, or like we will be able to go without having to put our toddler in front of the TV for hours.
Yes.
But like we can take that time to have those situations now, like you were saying too, like the before you became a mom, like I like to be like, I apologize for the things that I said before I became a mom. All the things that I said, like, oh, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. Even like from one kid to two kids, with our first Rosie, it was like, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And like we stayed pretty consistent with it. A binky drops on the ground now, I look at it, make sure there's not like major clumps of dirt and hair from the dogs, and I'm like, it's good. If a binky dropped with our firstborn, I was like, sterilize it, like wash it immediately. Like, we need to handle this. Like, it can't go in her mouth. It's so crazy. Like when they say like the commercials or anything that's like first time mom and then like second time mom. I really get it now. I feel like, okay, all right, like, yeah,
Yes.
things shift when it's the second time around.
I completely agree because I know I know, like, with the binky thing, I'm the same way. I'm like, "Well, if it's not covered in dog hair, I think it's okay to give it to her." And then we were doing tummy time last night, and I had her on the floor, like, carpeted floor, and my fiance's like, "This floor is disgusting. There's dog hair everywhere." I was like, "As long as she's not choking on the dog hair, it's fine." But if it was my firstborn, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, put down, like, another blanket that's clean. He can't be on a dirty floor."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the same exact thing was like going on with us the other day. Like before it was like always like a fresh new blanket, had to like fluff it out and like make sure it was like all clean and stuff, and like nobody could like step on the blanket. And now it's just kind of like plop them down like wherever he wants to go, and all right, yeah, you work here like
Yep.
it's just like such a different shift, and like I feel like it's helped the anxiety and stuff too, because with my first, I think a lot of my anxiety was driven from, I need to protect her and I need to keep her safe, and we all need to, wash your hands and watch where she's going, and things like that. And now I think a lot of that initial first time mom anxiety has been able to kind of be lifted, because yeah, we've been there before, we've done that before. I kind of know what to expect a little bit more.
Yep. It's like when you're a first-time mom, you feel like your baby is super fragile, and, like, they are to an extent, but then when you're, like, a second time or other times mom, you're like, "Oh, well, this is not going to kill them or hurt them, so it's okay."
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And even like that just like made me remember, like thinking back into college, we knew this family that had, I think at the time, maybe like six kids. And so like they had just had the baby, and we were all kind of like holding him and passing around. And the dad's like, he's not like gonna break. Like you can like really kind of pass him around, and he was just kind of like swinging them and holding them up. And we were like terrified because like none of us had had kids, and we're like, I can't believe you're doing that with your baby. But like, yeah, I mean, they're not as, they are fragile, but like they're not as fragile as we think. And I think now with like a toddler running around, I do have to watch. I mean, she loves him and is obsessed with him, but she, gets close to jumping on him, or she lays on top of him to give him hugs, and their heads bonk together, and she's like, she doesn't understand suffocating him, or like being the fact that she's like too heavy to lay on top of him, because she lays on top of us to cuddle, so why can't she lay on top of baby brother to cuddle? you know I think it's just like reintroducing her to, yes, he looks like a baby doll, but he's not a baby doll, and like we have to be more gentle with him than we are with mommy and daddy. So, adjusting to all that, like we've had our dog who we had to like keep you know, safe around with our firstborn, but like now to have her, that's a new obstacle that we didn't have initially.
Yes. Having dogs and babies is, I feel like, a huge challenge. And I feel like with every kid, the dog is different. So with my son, my dog hated him. She would not even be in the same room at all. She'd like we'd walk into the room holding the baby, she would get up and leave. She could just not stand to be in the room. This time around, she will not leave the baby's side. Like, even right now, she's 5 feet away from me watching me because I have the baby. So, like, she's like, now she's a huge, like, protector of the baby. So now I have to be more, like, aware of where do I put the baby down, because she comes over and she licks her face and she tries to, like, nudge her around, and she just wants to, like, play and protect the baby. But I'm like, this is completely different than the first time around. This is now a new, not really a challenge, but just a new situation that I have to keep my eye out on.
Yeah. Our other dog, who we didn't have with our firstborn when she was a little baby, almost sat on our newborn. He jumped up on the couch and he was getting all comfy. And he was literally like inches away from just plopping down and sitting on his head. And I scooped
Oh
in.
no.
I had to put my hand under his butt. And I mean, he's a bigger dog. Like, I don't know how much he weighs, but like, at least like I would say 50 pounds. But like, I just had to like put my hand under his butt and like push him and scooch him away. I was like, come on, man. Like, you can't sit. And he has sat on his binky so many times. And I'm like, all right, maybe that we need to wash.
Maybe that time, yeah.
But it's just, it's so crazy, like the shift in the dynamic and really just being in like this phase of life right now and navigating all of it.
Yes, it's really exciting, and then, like, not terrifying, but I don't know, it's just really exciting to see all of the changes, and then hard at the same time to deal with, like, all of the changes.
Yeah. So did you do any preparation before your girl came in terms of the podcast, or like how is that going now? How has it shifted? What did you think it was going to look like compared to how it is looking?
So, I started recording everything when I was 6 months pregnant with her, and I launched it when I was 9 months pregnant. So, I recorded, I wanna say 7 or 8 episodes, and I had them all ready. So whenever I did go and give birth, I could just schedule them out. Well, then I feel like somehow I got sidetracked and those episodes weren't all edited. I had maybe like 4 of them edited and ready to go. So I now have to go back and edit the episodes. But I did have a few of them ready to go. So it gave me like a good month or two with not having to record and not having to edit. So it's kind of like giving myself a little maternity leave. But I used to record during nap time because my son would take like an hour and a half nap in the middle of the day. And I always seemed to have energy right after lunch. It's probably because I ate. But now I can't do that because for whatever reason, I cannot get them on the same nap schedule. It's just one nap a day and I can't even do it. And so I talked to my fiance over the weekend, and we decided that Sundays will be my recording day, and then I'll just edit for like every day for like a half hour a day. I'll probably have to plot my son in front of the TV, but it's just for like a half hour, so we're both okay with that. And it'll be different, but at least it'll still happen, and I feel like it'll probably be a better way to record because before I was kind of always like on the edge, not really sure if my son was going to wake up or not. And this time around, my fiance will have the kids, so I won't even have to worry about them. So that'll be a nice way to just kind of relax more while recording.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I think what's really awesome about the podcast community, at least like what I've been finding out, is, if you do miss an episode or like things go off, or, you only have time to do like a short, quick episode or something like that, they're real forgiving and like really like okay with it, because like they understand like a lot of the times we're all doing this by ourselves. We don't have this huge production team. We don't have people like, making sure that we're staying on track or editing our episodes. Like, we are the ones, sitting down, recording, editing, getting everything out and together. And I think, that's what makes it real, raw and organic and really personable. And like, that's what I've always like enjoyed about podcasts too. And like, most of the time, people are jumping in when you're already a few episodes in. So like, they are on episode 1, and you're still like way ahead of them, like pumping out episodes anyway. So there's a lot of content there and things for people to catch up on. And I've just really enjoyed doing it. Now he's like
Yes.
sneezing and making noises. We're just gonna have so many little coos and burps and
It's
and
real
everything
life,
going.
though.
I know. Like, this is us, like 1 and 2 months postpartum.
Yep. And still making it happen.
Right. Yeah. And like, I mean, I do it cuz like I enjoy it so much, and I feel like it's like same for you. Like, to have that time on Sunday that you're going to be able to dedicate to just recording and really just like touching base with the podcast. I think that's so important. Like, not every mom has to like start a podcast. If you want to, I say go for it, but at least like have a hobby, have a passion, have something to say is your own, an outlet, even if you're just journaling for a half an hour 1 day a week by yourself. I think having that thing to call your own, that yes, we talk about being mothers and we talk about our kids sometimes and things like that, but essentially, this is something that's like uniquely us, and we get to have that creative outlet to share with other people.
Yes, I think it's super important to have something that's like you can call your own. Because I know with for the first like year, I had nothing that was like my own. I devoted myself solely to whatever he needed, and I was just not happy. Like, I loved being a mom, but I was like not happy about not having something that was just mine. I felt so, I don't want to say like resentful towards like my fiance, but almost resentful because he still had hobbies and everything, and he still went out with like his friends and stuff. But like if I went out with my friends, I had to take my son because I mean my fiance also works 7 days a week. So whenever I went out with my friends, he was still at work. Whenever he went out with his friends, I was home. So I always had the kid. But when I found something that was for me, I just felt so much better. I think when my son turned 1, I turned to writing. I used to be really into writing like years ago, and I started to slowly get back into it. And then when I got pregnant with her, I turned to podcasting. I don't know why, honestly. It just seemed something like it would be fun. And then it's just been like really fun and really like inspiring. It's been keeping me in a great mood. It's almost like going to therapy every day. It's nice to be able to talk about things and just like get it off your chest.
Yeah, I've always liked having conversations with people and talking with people. And so to be able to kind of like compile it like this, and I also have a terrible memory. So I think like this has been like super helpful and useful for me, because like I can even go back to my episodes and like relive a conversation that I had with somebody, or I can be like, oh, what did they say about this and that and that? Like, I know that I like talked about this, but to be able to like go back on your own conversations and really just like relive that moment is really awesome. And I think, yeah, like I think like that's like what I've also been able to enjoy. And now we have I'm putting a festival together this spring.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah, I'm trying to like encompass like everything that the podcast has really been doing and bring it to life and be like a real like in-person celebration almost. Like we're having some people that have been on the podcast and some new people that I'm meeting who are going to potentially be on the podcast in the future, but we're just gonna see how it goes and maybe be like an annual thing that we have to celebrate the podcast and really just, I don't know.
That sounds awesome, though. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just bring moms together. Cause I mean, like, this is awesome. This is really cool to be able to kind of like have these conversations. And like we were saying, like, you can just put your headphones in. But I think there's something special about being in person too. And really kind of, having that community and seeing faces and having something to do and getting out of the house and really just kind of, coming together and being, um, there for each other.
Yes.
So so
I
it
know a
should
few
be
times
a fun
I've
time.
seen people say that they have like mom retreats. I'm like, that's such a
Yeah.
cool idea. I was like, I've
Yeah.
never been to one, but
Right. Yeah, and like that's how I felt. Like I was like, I'm gonna just have a big festival, and like I've never done it before, so like I'm just gonna jump right into it and see how it goes. But I'm learning like so much just putting it together, and it's been a blast. So I think that's kind of the next step of like where the podcast is getting to.
that's awesome, though.
So yeah. I don't know. Do you have any kind of, I guess, advice for new moms going through it the first time? Or if you are, a mom for the second time, like what things like you've kind of learned this time around or things that you made sure? I know that you were saying like the postpartum depression and stuff was a lot heavier the first time. Do you feel like there's something that you did this time around differently that really helped in that?
I really focused on improving my communication with my fiance. And to me, it sounds weird to like say that because we've always had great communication. We've always kind of finished each other's sentences, anyways. But I could never be completely honest about what was wrong. Like, I could say, like, I'm frustrated, but then he'd ask why, and I wouldn't be able to tell him why because either there was just so much stuff bottled up and I just let it bottle up and like fester, or I just literally had no idea why I was frustrated. So this time, I made sure before having her to really focus on why I was getting upset about things and where those feelings were stemming from. Like maybe it wasn't that situation that was really upsetting me, but it was like the straw on the camel's back. And I think pinpointing where those negative feelings were coming from and being able to honestly just say it how it is and like this is what's happening, like even if it meant I might hurt his feelings or something. Obviously, I'm not being like rude about it, but being like, hey, you said this and that really hurt my feelings because it made me think about this or something like that. The communication has really helped because we learned that she has reflux a week or two ago. And that was really hard because my son had reflux. And as a first time mom, I had no idea what reflux was. And that was really hard for me. And it sent me even further into the depression. So when I found out she had reflux, I almost had like a flashback of how bad it was with my son. And I turned to my fiance right after I got back from the doctors and I was like, if they need to put her on medication, she's going on medication because I cannot go down that path again. And he was like, "You know what? If that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do because I want you to stay healthy like this," because he knew how bad it was before. So I think as any type of mom, being able to communicate how you're feeling and what you need and just be completely honest about it. Like, don't be rude about it, but just be honest because no one's going to help you unless you ask for it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And exactly like you just said at the end, like no one's going to know if you don't ask for it. And I think, that's such a good, and sometimes it does take us a little bit of time to realize like what do we need? Like what do we want? But I think deep down, if you just kind of sit with yourself, you know what you need. You just have to kind of give yourself that permission to ask for what you need.
I feel like
And
it's always a pride thing. You're always too proud to ask for help, or too proud to be like, oh, this is what's wrong, because that's kind of sounds silly, or why am I getting upset over something so small? But hormones make everything, and sleep
yeah.
deprivation, so
Yes. Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it so much
I'll
harder.
ask I'll ask you the question of, are you getting any sleep?
I'm getting more with her than I did with my son, so
Oh, that's good.
it's still not a
Yeah.
lot, but
Yeah. I had somebody the other day and they were like, "Are you sleeping?" And I was like, "You mean like at all in general?" Like I was like, "I mean, I sleep, but like I'm not sleeping fully through the night. Like I
right.
have a 2-month-old."
Yep.
And I think it's just like one of those things that like you kind of forget about, or you can't remember like when did they sleep through the night for the first time? Like what was that schedule like? And how you were talking about naps. You're like, I'm just trying to get like one nap. Cuz with my daughter, we did like a morning nap and an afternoon nap, and then she like slowly transitioned to like just an afternoon nap. And I'm like, is that how it has to be? Or can they both just take a nap in the afternoon?
Right.
Like, I'm just like trying to like pinpoint schedules and get that all like situated again.
Yeah, it's hard, because also, like, when my son was young, he was in daycare, and she's not in daycare. So it's like it's completely different schedule based, because I mean, I worked for like 10 hours a day when he was a newborn, so now I stay home, and it's completely different for schedule wise. It's new.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. Well, thanks so much for talking with me and really just kind of like getting in with like how we're navigating these newborns and toddlers and podcasting and everything. But if somebody wants to reach out to you or listen to your podcast, where can they find you?
So my podcast is available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Um, and I also have the Awkward Mom podcast website. It's the awkwardmompodcast.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook for the Awkward Mom Podcast. I'm pretty sure they're both the Awkward Mom Podcast. I try to keep it pretty simple. The same thing all around. If you want to email me, it's the Awkward Mom Podcast at gmail.com. I try to keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's the same way. It's entering motherhood. So that's how it's been and how it's staying. So
As long as it's consistent.
right. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, thanks so much. This has been a fun
Yeah.
conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Babies and everything.
Yes. I thought she would sleep, but she didn't.
That's okay. Yeah, he's just kind of like comfortably snoozing, but it's probably gonna be angry screams of hunger soon.
Well, this wraps up yet another episode of Entering Motherhood. I hope that you have found this episode helpful, and if you liked it, please share it with others who might also benefit from this information. If there's anything that you'd like to know more about, or maybe you know someone who'd like to be on the show, please visit my website, enteringmotherhood.com. I'm so thrilled to be going on this journey with you and getting the amazing opportunity to help moms during this postpartum experience. You can also now find us on Instagram and Facebook at Entering Motherhood.